I'm now pleased to introduce a distinguished and accomplished university alumna and recognize her many achievements with an honorary degree. Heidi Petz is a remarkable individual whom we're incredibly proud to call a Spider. I'm grateful to her for delivering our commencement address today. A graduate of the class of 1997, Heidi earned a bachelor's degree from the Jepson School of Leadership Studies. Since graduating from the University of Richmond, she's held leadership roles at Newell Rubbermaid, Target, and PricewaterhouseCoopers. Since joining the Sherwin-Williams Company, Heidi has consistently risen to the occasion, taking on increasing levels of responsibility. She served as president of the Consumer Brands Group in the Americas Group and president and chief operating officer before her most recent appointment as president and chief executive officer of the company, which reported consolidated net sales of $23 billion in 2023. Heidi serves on the boards of Ulta Beauty and the Universal Hospitals Health System, and she's a member of the Policy Advisory Board of the Joint Center for Housing Studies at Harvard. In my conversations with Heidi, I've been inspired by her ambitious journey and her leadership values. She shares our university's commitment to fostering a sense of belonging. She values feedback, and she leans into her strength and the strengths of her colleagues. Her humanity and commitment to the people surrounding her are particularly striking. In short, Heidi embodies the qualities the university seeks to cultivate in all Richmond students and provides an inspiring example of a life of purpose, thoughtful inquiry, and responsible leadership in a diverse world. As a thoughtful gift to the university and a tribute to her own time here, Heidi's team has recreated the university's shield logo with Sherwin-Williams paint chips, a one-of-a-kind work of art. It's awesome, and it's on display in the lobby here on the lower level of the Robbins Arena. I now invite Heidi Petz and Provost Joan Saab to join me. By virtue of the authority bestowed to me by the Board of Trustees, I confer upon you, Heidi Petz, the degree of Doctor of Commercial Sciences, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities appertaining thereto. Congratulations, Heidi.
Well, goodness gracious, I did not expect that. Thank you, President Halleck and the University of Richmond. Spiders, it is such an honor to be here in front of all of you today. And before I start, and you'll get to know me very quickly, I will keep this pretty short because I know you guys have other things when you leave here you cannot wait to go do. Am I right? All right. Well, this is such an honorary degree, and trust me, the paint chips that I proudly bestowed upon you are nothing in comparison to this, so thank you for a wonderful degree. I do want to start, today is Mother's Day, and I would be remiss not to take a moment and recognize some dear family and friends that I have in the back supporting me. If you guys could all wave. All right, thank you guys for being here. So I often, when I'm around my employees, I talk a lot, and we use our PowerPoint slides like you guys do, but I always put pictures of my kids up, and I talk about my 3 kids. And I say, first and foremost, I'm a mother. And I talk about my 3 kids. My oldest son is 12, Brady, my daughter's Mia, my youngest is 7, and I tell them every day, you are my world. And I also say, I want you to have the best day, and they usually roll their eyes and go, ever, we know, Mom. But they are my world. And speaking of moms, I want to take a minute and acknowledge my mom, who has been my best friend and my rock through all of life's ups and downs. And ever since I was a little girl, I got to look up to my mom, as she was running an insurance company, she was president of our Rotary Club, and the list goes on and on. So Mom, you've inspired me every day. And Dad, for you being here. Have always been a role model I've looked up to. You've always been my sounding board. And it's not that infrequent that I pick up the phone on the way to work and we're somehow talking about the kids, the economy, or something far in between. So thank you everyone for being here. And I want to just comment on a few things here. The way that we all talk about our root system, I would not be here without my strong and amazing root system. And I think it's a good reminder for all of us as we think about what happens leaving this auditorium. And we always talk about, remember where you came from. We've all heard that. But the secret is it's more than that. It's remember and honor where you came from. You heard Carrie Ann talking about that in her beautiful speech. And your root system, where you come from, is just the beginning of your story. And that's true not just in work, but being the most authentic you in your careers and in your life. I'm a very proud graduate of the University of Richmond. Jepson School of Leadership, I heard a few calls in the back. What's up, guys? But the program, the entire experience here, certainly with Jepson and outside of Jepson, was absolutely phenomenal. So I'm really proud, and I was able to focus on my minors were in business and in communications, and had a fantastic degree. I was active in student government. But honestly, I was way more social than that sounds. And as I approached this very day, sitting in the audience like all of you are, I became more and more serious about what it is that I wanted to do. And how I was going to take all this time learning, studying, and what I would call practicing into the real world around me. So I'm going to share 3 very quick stories with you guys. These are things that really molded me. I'll be honest, some of them are a bit embarrassing, but I'm going to trust that we're in the tree of trust. Because I remember sitting in this auditorium, and the first story, I'm going to call this the day I broke my heel. So right after graduation, despite the fact that I had a fairly respectable job offer, and I really impressed my parents when I declined that offer, and instead told them I was going to move with 3 of my other UR friends to London, which was a lovely place, incidentally, where I did not have a job. So 3 friends from UR, $210, literally $210, that's not a joke. A hiker's backpack, heels, jean shorts, and sheer determination. For the sake of my pride, I had to find a way to make it work until the very end of my work visa. So I wanted to prove to myself that I could navigate something that was very challenging after being in this wonderful program. I had all the tools to make good decisions, and I hopefully would land a meaningful job when I landed in London. All 4 of us were very committed to the cause. So we borrowed the blankets from the flight, already showing very good decision making by saving money before we landed. We actually used those blankets the entire time we were in London. It was pathetic. When we landed, we chose to make another really good choice. We walked for miles in our platform heels because we had to avoid spending $10 on a cab. So, as the story you would imagine would go, can I get a quick show of hands? Who in this room thinks that I broke a heel? You're right, I broke a heel. And I had to walk an entire mile with a limp because I had to prove to myself that I needed those platform heels with me in London. So when I got to the hotel, I did realize very quickly that I needed to make a better decision. Allow myself a bit of room, and at least get to the hotel, get a good night's sleep, and did not have to have it all figured out on the very first day. So the good news is I ended up getting a job with PricewaterhouseCoopers. It was a very junior job, incidentally. And I got some great exposure to what I will call the real world of corporate finance. And while I enjoyed it, I knew I wanted finance to be part of my job, but not all of it. So let that be my first piece of advice to you all. Break a leg, don't break a heel. Okay, number 2, be a betting person. Betting, not betting, betting. Be a betting person. And I'm not endorsing gambling, just for the clarity of the University of Richmond. I'm not endorsing gambling. I'm not suggesting you guys go to casinos. And my kids know I'm not into gaming. I don't know how to play anything, like anything. They don't even ask me to play because they know I'm not good at it. So it's not about that kind of thing, but betting on yourself. So let's talk about this. I'm going to do a brief exercise here. You guys have all heard this age-old question, and I want you guys to answer this in your own mind. Do you love to win, or do you hate to lose? You guys have an answer? Okay. I'm pretty sure we probably could divide this entire room in half, but here's the good news. There is no right answer. But I'm going to go back to a comment that President Halleck made earlier on what you're walking away from and being able to understand different arguments. So I'm going to say that there's something legitimate to understand on both sides of the argument. So let's start with those of you that hate to lose. And this is not empirical research, so this is literally just what I believe, okay? So if you guys want to go do research, call me, tell me I'm wrong, please, that's fine. So for those of you that hate to lose, you might be thinking that you're just never complacent. You might be thinking that you're always hungry to get better. You might be thinking that you're always paying attention to your competition and what they're up to, or other things you may be thinking. For those of you that answer, I love to win, you might be addicted to the feeling of winning. You might be willing to be creative and do whatever it takes to win. Or you might be willing to be creative and take on a bit more risk, trusting yourself, trusting that you will recover. So again, there is no right answer. My bias is probably clear in that, but I think it's really important. And I'll share this with you. While my time in London, my work visa was coming to an end, I interviewed awkwardly and virtually from Kinko's, and for a job that ended up being a big advertising agency in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I was so excited, but I was so scared. And I knew no one in Minneapolis, and I admittedly believed that, right, wrong, or indifferently, people, and I'm so sorry if anyone's from Minneapolis or Minnesota, I've learned that this is not true, but my fear was that people tipped cows on weekends, and I simply would not fit in. So the good news, I had a wonderful few years at this advertising agency. And then, as earlier mentioned, I was at the Target Corporation, and I learned, importantly, how to organize work, how to coordinate and motivate teams of people, and also, candidly, how to communicate with some very, I would say, sophisticated customers. I was learning, I was having fun, and my phone rang. I was recruited by Newell Rubbermaid, and I moved back east to be closer to my family. I worked at Newell Rubbermaid for 10 years in a variety of different new sales and marketing roles with increasing levels of responsibility. I bet on myself, and it worked. I learned that not only could I do more, but I wanted to do more. I knew then that I wanted to grow, run, and shape a business. Okay, story number 3. This is my favorite one, by the way, if you're taking notes, and if not, just so you know. Lean in on your strengths and lean on others for theirs. So I've been at Sherwin-Williams now for 10 years, and I'm the 10th CEO in a company with a 158-year-old history, if you can believe that. So, as earlier mentioned, $23 billion company. We operate in 123 countries, and I do believe we have the very best talent with over 64,000 employees globally. And I often refer to these employees as our 64,000 families. That we want them returning home the way they came to work, safely. We're helping them to build skills and build economics that support their family. So that might sound really silly for a company as big as we are, as a performance-driven culture, that we're that focused on taking care of each other. But it's really important to me in our culture, much like here in Richmond, this notion of belonging. And Kevin, you and I talked about this earlier, but of our 64,000 employees, I want everyone to feel like they belong. So it's really important that we get the best out of our talent. And I'll share this with all of you too. Sherwin-Williams, and this is not about the company, I want to give you a little bit of real-world slice as I think about coming out of here. Sherwin-Williams is best known for roughly 5,000 paint stores. The other half of our business is our global industrial business. And so think of inside the cans that you drink out of, we protect the can from the water or the soda or the beer, if any of you drink beer, so maybe. The coatings on furniture, floors, the cars that you drove here today, the Sydney Opera House, the White House, the list goes on and on. But my honor is being able to run this company and setting our strategy, leading our culture, and developing the very best talent to drive our company forward. So when I tell you that I lean in on my strengths but lean on others for theirs, let me just give you an example, because I am one of 64,000 employees. So the other 63,999 employees are truly helping me drive the success of this company. I have an incredible leadership team around me, and I often refer to them, and they hear this all the time, as athletes. And I do believe my desire as a leader, as it has always been, is to put the best athlete on the field at all times. So as I look out here, incidentally, by no chance in this audience, I do see an incredible amount of athletes that I would welcome open arms into the Sherwin-Williams family. I would be remiss not to say that today. So come find me and we can talk about Sherwin-Williams. So it is about knowing your strengths and knowing where they aren't. And I think building the right team starts with a heavy dose of self-awareness. So where are my strengths, and of equal importance, where are they not? And I will share with you, my desire for feedback is pretty high. I'll ask my leadership team often, and always paying attention to some of the work that we do. We do some team exercises. You guys have heard of Myers-Briggs. There's all sorts of assessments. We went through one that I want to share something with you. It was a personality assessment that we did as a leadership team. And we learned our top strengths out of a whole host of strengths. And for me, I'm going to share my top 5 with you, and then I'm going to tell you where they are not. Competitive. Okay, that's probably a good thing in my role, that I'm competitive. I'm a relator. I care deeply about people. I'm a driver, I'm a maximizer, and I'm adaptable. So it's a good thing that my job requires me. I have a high need for connection and speed, so it's a good thing that my job requires me to look into the future, to drive strategy, and to shape the culture. And while that's really important, is also as important as delivering the results of the company, I absolutely lean on others with their depth of analytics and a good, healthy pause button. So it's not uncommon for me to hear, Heidi, I really like that, but let's just sleep on it and talk in the morning. So really good to surround yourself with strong people that also show up every day and know how you as a team can lean in and lean on each other. So as you all leave here today, I hope that you guys continue to build on the incredible bonds that you've created with each other, with the university, and with the community. Lean in and on each other, not physically. That'd be weird. Bet on yourself, try a few things, and trust that you will find a way to recover. And you don't have to have it all figured out on the first day. So be your best authentic you, and good things will find you for the rest of your life. Thank you, President Halleck, the university, and go Spiders. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi, for your thoughtful and inspiring address.